So they made an anime based on House M.D. and Sherlock Holmes, but taking more aspects from the detective Sherlock-esque side, because House is way more medical. If you didn't know that House is based on Sherlock, just think about it for 2 seconds. I know this is 4, but 2 seconds. His name is literally House, just a different word for home, and his best friend's name is James Wilson. It's another JW, just like John Watson. This show is basically Detective Dr. House, if he was an anime girl. The animation for this show is actually really good, and the intro's animation is insanely polished. But let's start with episode 1, with the title literally being Dr. Sherlock. The show starts with 2 doctors, Yu and Mai. I literally didn't put their last names because I knew I would pronounce them wrong, so this is my pronunciation, okay? The Zan pronunciation of everything. Trying to figure out what illness this guy who has stomach pain has, where they instantly reference House MD's running joke of lupus, by first assuming he has lupus. As a House MD fan, I hit my computer with the no fucking way they did this. I was literally sitting there just shocked. And then I took a screenshot and moved on. I like the lupus meme a lot in House MD. My friend who likes Lupin the Third is changing his name on like online platforms to Lupus the Third now. That's just how much we appreciate the lupus meme. It's chef's kisses. The 2 characters are now presented with a case they can't solve. Dr. Ameku enters the room. Right before this, there's a random shot of a cane that seems to be a nod towards Dr. House, but it's also important for later. Dr. Ameku goes by Takeo is crazy. Dr. Ameku goes by Takeo, so for the rest of the video, she will be called Takeo. Anyways, she enters instantly making fun of Yu because, from my understanding, his name is close to the word for little bird, and her name is close to the word hawk. So it's Hawk and Little Bird. Dr. Takeo wants to go see the Jurassic Park exhibit with Yu, but Yu says he can't leave because he has patients he hasn't diagnosed yet. Dr. Takao, that's how you pronounce it. Dr. Takao does the House thing of walking in the room and instantly solving one of the cases. The cause of this random kid's ailment was that his mom gave him way too much vitamin A to try and improve his eyesight. Then she pulls another thing House is known for and proceeds to make fun of the mom for being so stupid. The next patient, she pulls more of a Sherlock Holmes approach by stating that she solved this old guy's stomach problems with the simple art of deduction, pointing out the guy's cane, stating that he can't walk, so he must have been doing an activity where he is sitting, and then pointing out the cuts on his hands that could have been done by a fishing hook. Through this, she says that he must have eaten some raw fish from the fish he caught, leading to him having a parasite in his stomach. Dr. House does deduce a lot in his show, but the way this was done just has way more of a Sherlock feeling to it, especially with her more pointing out it was the art of deduction rather than solving it and moving on. After this, an ambulance comes in, and Yu helps with the patient who has his leg seemingly bit off by a large animal, something much larger than a dog. The oddest part of all is that his blood is blue. The patient dies, but Dr. Takao gets super excited because both the blue blood and the size of the bite excite her, which is just like House. More curious about what and why rather than the fact that a guy just died. The way that she differs from House in this instance is that she actually wants to solve the murder and is fascinated by that aspect, not just the diagnosis of what the patient has. She then proceeds to get told off by a detective and the head of the hospital to not investigate the case any further. In the most House way ever, she pitches a fit and proceeds to investigate anyways. While investigating, she runs into some detective she knows, one of which being the same detective that told her off earlier. They come to a mutual understanding to share information with each other. The information she brings to the table is the source of the bite mark being the skeleton of a T-Rex. And that is the conclusion of episode 1. I ended up watching a bit more of the show, and there are these massive deduction moments where she is putting all the pieces of the case together in what I can only describe as the most anime Sherlock way possible, with some killer music reminiscent of Phoenix Wright, which, like, I was jamming, okay? It was a certified hood classic, certified banger. It was almost like playing one of those difficult rhythm games where you're kind of like locked in and it's like it's Danganronpa would also be a very good example just because it's like the investigative music that they throw in like anime games and anime stuff. You know what I'm talking about. They just did that, okay? Also, I'm gonna leave the case unsolved for you. So you just have to watch episode 2 to find out what the answer to the blue blood is. But I do think the show is a pretty good mix of House and Sherlock. It just seems to be more on the mystery side of things rather than the doctor side. The reason for that could be that because this is an anime, they can have as many different locations as they want without it costing too much extra, which can hold back a lot of murder mystery shows. In the future, there will probably be more episodes based on the medical side of things, but for right now, I'm liking where this show is going, because my favorite moment of House were his insults, gay but platonic relationship with Best Boy Wilson, and especially his deductions. I'm curious to see if they will make Takao a flawed character just like House and Holmes, or if she will just be the perfect anime girl genius. For instance, will this anime girl be addicted to drugs like the two of them? Or will she go crazy and end up having to go to a mental hospital? I do hope her character ends up having some flaws because it really does round out those characters and makes them as interesting as they are. House without a Vicodin addiction or being an ass isn't House. I'm also interested in if you will become more of an interesting counterpart to Takao, like John Watson or James Wilson, because for right now, he just seems way too bland of a character. I know his purpose is supposed to be normal guy perspective, but he definitely needs a bit more characterization. So that's basically all I want to say for now about the Dr. House Sherlock anime girl. If you watch it, that'd be cool. I'm kind of interested to see what other people's opinions on it are, because I don't know, I've just seen Dr. House and a lot of Sherlock stuff, so I was like, oh, this seems interesting. But I'm wondering what other people that have seen, like, whether it's Sherlock or House M.D. will think about this show. I know House has had a bit of a resurgence because of the, like, TikTokification of everything, where House's clips are just going everywhere. My favorite one being,
every morning, I have to check my eyes to make sure I didn't scratch a cornea in my sleep.
Oh, God, stop. I'm in a pool of tears here.
I can't cry.
Neither can I. Every morning, I check my eyes for jaundice, in case the Vicodin's finally shot my liver.
I can't run anywhere without examining all my toes for swelling.
I can't run.
Boys can't hold me for too long because I can overheat.
Girls can't hold me for too long because I only pay for an hour.
but I'm just kind of curious about what other people's opinions on this are, because it is a literal just Dr. House Sherlock anime, and I wonder what the House/Sherlock community thinks about it. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. Toodles.